Today on Forbes, retailers brace for an uncertain holiday season as consumers pull back. Today is Black Friday, and the holiday season is in full swing. But retailers and customers aren't exactly feeling cheerful. With consumer confidence near record lows, a weakening job market, plus tariffs and persistent inflation, experts warn that customers are pulling back during the busiest season of the year for retailers. The U.S. consumer is on shaky footing. Consumer sentiment fell to 51 in November, a slight improvement after a preliminary reading during the government shutdown brought it close to the all-time low set in June 2022, according to the University of Michigan's widely tracked survey. Americans are concerned about the labor market, which has already shed more than 1 million jobs this year, as well as rising inflation. Complicating this year's shopping season are President Donald Trump's tariffs of between 10% and 50% on most U.S. imports, as their fate rests in the hands of a skeptical Supreme Court, which reportedly could issue a ruling by the end of the year. Nonetheless, companies are already hiking prices, and consumers should expect to pay more for some of the biggest holiday categories, including apparel, electronics, and home decor. Had the levies been in place last holiday season, shoppers would have paid an extra $132 per person, translating to a $28.6 billion burden, according to analysis from LendingTree. And the impacts aren't being felt evenly either. Experts are warning of a divided, so-called, quote, K-shaped U.S. economy, in which wealthier households are fueling spending, while low-income households are cutting back. The government shutdown, despite ending earlier this month, inflicted pain on federal workers and tens of millions of people who saw delayed food stamps. Tom Arnold, a professor of finance at the University of Richmond's Robbins School of Business, says, quote, lower-income consumers are the ones who are going to be looking for bargains, if they're going to participate at all. Flying in the face of these headwinds, there are still indications that 2025 could be a record-breaking holiday season, though retailers' expectations are mixed. The National Retail Federation projects holiday spending to surpass $1 trillion this year for the first time ever, an increase of 3.7% to 4.2% over last year, though Arnold notes the top-line figure isn't adjusted for inflation. The group's projections note that consumers expect to spend a total of $890, a slight dip from last year's $902. But Black Friday isn't necessarily the main event anymore, as stores have rolled out discounts well before what was once the biggest retail day of the year. Shoppers have been stretching those smaller budgets out over time, with almost half looking for deals earlier. A survey from Deloitte shows an even larger drop of 10% in how much shoppers anticipate shelling out. Lupine Skelly, lead retail researcher at Deloitte, says consumers are tightening their belts the most on non-gift items like seasonal decor and apparel. She says, quote, for retailers, that's an opportunity though. You've got this consumer that's looking for value. They want to feel like their purchase is meaningful and worth it. Retailers are already preparing for the worst by hiring a record low number of seasonal employees. This according to what career services firm Challenger Gray & Christmas found. Target reported weaker than expected profit in its earnings last week and plans to slash prices on thousands of essential items in an attempt to revive sluggish sales. Still, as consumers focus on value, Walmart remained positive, beating Wall Street's estimates in its third quarter as online sales surged 27%. America's largest retailer also hiked its expectations for the year, as Walmart's chief financial officer said the brand was seeing, quote, more pronounced traffic among high-income shoppers. Many of the typical gift-giving categories are also being hit the hardest by tariffs, including the already struggling toy industry. Some 80% of toys imported to the U.S. come from China, the Toy Association trade group has said. Earlier this year, President Trump suggested that children in the U.S. may, quote, have 2 dolls instead of 30 dolls. And sure enough, both Barbie maker Mattel and competitor Hasbro have since announced tariff-related price hikes. For full coverage, check out Danielle Kemtob's piece on forbes.com. This is Kieran Meadows from Forbes. Thanks for tuning in.